So welcome back YouTube. We are going to film a leg session at 3 weeks out today, which will be lovely jubbly. We thought that we'd get a little video of my pre-workout meal before we obviously head to the gym. This session is my gym leg press session. Obviously I don't do squat style movements. I know that I've gone through that in my YouTube videos before. There's been some changes in my training, and I know that I've spoken about that on my YouTube anyway, but I will go through all of my session step by step, giving you some tips and pointers just like always. But this is my pre-workout meal on a leg day: 100 grams raw weight rice, 150 grams raw weight cod, 75 grams worth of vegetables from mushrooms and peppers, 100 grams of pineapple, and then I've also got a coffee as well. I will wait a little bit after eating to then drink my coffee, just because I always find that if I drink quite close or very close to my meal, that digestion kind of slows down, and that's definitely not what we want. So I'm going to eat it. I don't usually have my work phone with me when I eat, or really at any point around my training, but I do have 5 people competing this week. Got 4 ladies at the 2 bros, all looking fantastic today. We've got Lillian, Lucy and Fiona in bikini, and we've got Agnes in the figure class. And then tomorrow I also have another competitor called Emma, who's obviously checking in every meal at the moment as well, just to double check that we have foods on the right place, or in the right place at the right times with the right amounts. Exactly the same for my other clients as well today, just to make sure that everything is perfect. But none of their peaks could have gone any better. None of them could look any better for themselves where they are right now in terms of their journey and their musculature. So I'm really happy. I'm going to eat my pre-workout meal. I'm going to watch a podcast. Kuba's obviously very nicely prepared it on the pan for me, which is lovely. He always does prior to me eating my pre-workout. So I'm going to let him press play on his podcast so that he can listen to it now. So we're at the gym. It's actually UltraFlex's open day today. So it's quite busy and quite loud, so hopefully you can hear me talking pretty well, which will be good for you. Or maybe it's bad, or maybe it's good if you can't hear me, because maybe you don't like listening to me talking. But yeah, we're here for legs. I'll go through my intra-workout nutrition, I'll go through my session as we get going. But for now, just gonna wait until Kuba's ready to go, and then we'll get on with the session. Just warming up the old lady joints. And that's a wrap for my warm-up. Few exercises, 5 minutes, get to work. So, first exercise is the seated hamstring curl. I actually got a message about this the other day on Instagram. How do you lock yourself in? And honestly, the most simplest thing is just tuck your hips. If you tuck your hips and keep your back nice and straight, and don't go heavier than what you should be. Still go heavy, still get strong, but you will stay locked in. Obviously you can use the leg pad to push in a little bit, but you don't need a lot. But always keeping the kneecaps facing towards the ceiling, always neutral, making sure that you have full range of motion, full stretch, full squeeze. I got the same weight, max reps, same as last time. I'm a lot lighter and I'm a lot leaner than the last session. It's all about maintenance at this point when it comes to strength for me. I mean, I think if you're getting stronger at the end of prep, you might have a load of gearing. Or maybe you just weren't training hard enough in the off season, which is more likely. But intensity never fails, even until peak week, where then you start backing off a little bit, because obviously you need to drop fatigue a little going into your show. That's the only time that we back off the intensity, and I ate that week. Right, so next exercise is the leg extension. On this session we do it on the plate loaded prime, the other session we just do it on the Cybex. Not that each machine's superior to the other, it's just for a little bit of variety so that we don't do the same one every 5 days. Obviously with this one, with it being prime, we can change the resistance profile. So in one of the sets we do mid to lengthened, and then the next step we do shortened to lengthened. No, short to mid. Just so that, again, we can get a little bit of variety and we can work our quads in every single angle that you possibly can imagine. I found last session that I dropped a little bit on my reps because Cooper had told me to slow them down. So hopefully this session we can try and match the previous session's reps with the improved form. Improved form is another variation of progressive overload. It's not just about weight and reps, it is about form, tempo, everything. That was a really great set. I was really happy with how that was. I actually got one more rep compared to last time, which is basically the same as what I'd done 2 sessions ago, but just with the improved form. So had to definitely fight for that last rep, but it was there, so I took it. If it's not there, especially in a competition prep, right at the end, don't take it, because it's not worth it. In a off season, rest pause sets, drop sets, partial reps, sometimes force reps, yeah, all good. Maybe not on every single movement, but definitely okay. When you're in a prep, you don't or shouldn't have the recovery for it. Right, next movement is leg press. We're doing the gym like leg press today. The last time I did it, Kuba wanted me to get a little bit more depth, but because I'm so short, I have to use something to push me forwards. So I was using 2 pads. Now I've got to use 2 pads and a 10 to be able to get my depth that Kuba wants. It definitely made it way harder, so it's definitely worth it. So here on a leg press, I'm trying to keep my joints stacked. For me, the most comfortable position is just outside of hip width. It allows me to get nice depth and it helps me to keep my knees nice and healthy. If I was aiming to do a glute focused press, which we wouldn't really do on this movement, feet would be much higher, still stacking the joints, the knees would only come to 90 degrees. Here, we want to get knee flexion to be able to use the quads. Halfway through my workout, have my protein serving, which is the MPS. This is a peak flavour. I don't waste time and sip on it. I drink it so that my protein window is the same from pre-workout to post-workout. So, on a hip thrust, to be able to keep tension in your glutes, or anything glute focused, you don't want any knee flexion, so you want to keep your shins vertical, which is what I try to do on here by having my feet at the distance that's right for me forwards. I keep them around hip width. Mine is slightly outside of hip width. As I said on the leg press, that's just what feels most comfortable for me. Comfort is important because that's where you will be strongest. As long as you've not got your feet like really wide apart or really narrow, it doesn't matter if it's just inside of hip width or outside of hip width. So that's where my feet stay. I turn my toes out slightly, just a tiny little bit. Kuba gave me that pointer just because then you can drive your hips through a little bit more. There's not any other movement that you do where you actually get all the tension from the weight in this squeeze at the top with the glutes. So that's why I do that, so that I can get that real big drive through. I always aim to keep my spine neutral, especially on the way down, by feeling like I'm tucking my hips. That allows me to be able to keep more tension on my glutes and for my glutes to really wrap around my hips. Glutes are obviously a huge focus for me. That's where the majority of my volume is. Even on a day like this, there's still a lot of hamstring and glute volume compared to quad. So, yeah. Managed to match my reps, which is great. I'm happy with how they felt as well. Really happy. So, next and last real exercise, I've got some carbs, is my walking lunges. They tire me out in off season, never mind it 3 weeks out, so we'll see how these go. I'm determined to not let them defeat me. Good one, Joe actually said, do you always time your rest periods? Because I train on my own, yes I do. And it's not because I go too slowly, it's because I go too quickly. If I go too quick, most of the time, you lose your strength a little bit. So it's getting that fine balance. So for me, compound movements, about 3 to 4 minutes between. Isolations, 1.5, and you're good to go. Obviously when you're training with a couple of people like Kuba and Matt today, as isolations sometimes there's a bit more of a rest period. But if I'm on my own, 1.5 minutes max, 1 minute, and it's time to go. I was 1 rep shy of my last time's reps, but that's pretty decent with how much leaner and lighter I am, and the fact that it's the end of my session. I'm pretty happy with that, so that's good. Managed to maintain the weight throughout my prep so far, so we'll just see how things keep on going, but I'm happy with performance today. I say that like it's the end of my session. I've still got carbs, but carbs aren't as taxing, are they? Not quite as taxing. Still got to train them hard to get some big carbs, but they don't require as much mental focus, I'd say, as a walking lunge. With my lunges, I'm trying to work my entire leg, glutes, adductors, quads. That's why my kind of stride length isn't super long. If I wanted to just target my glutes, I'd take my stride length a little bit longer. I would make sure that my shin stays vertical. I would take a slight little twist into the hip to get a little bit more stretch into the glute, and that's how I'd bias the glute. But I'm trying to work my whole leg, which is why I'm allowing for my knee to travel forwards, but I always keep my hips tucked, which means I get more tension in my glutes at the bottom. If you can keep your spine neutral on most things, you can keep your core tighter. You keep your core tighter, you keep tension where you need to keep it. Right, that is the end of legs. It was a good session. Definitely feels a lot harder to get those lapsed reps now that I'm getting closer to comp prep. Definitely, obviously getting more and more conditioned, so it's always going to feel a little bit more challenging, but this is where we embrace it and we still get shit done. Kuba has actually adjusted this session slightly, so I used to do leg curls at the end as well as at the start, so that there's a little bit less warm-up sets, which obviously then pulls away from your recovery. He's just added those 2 extra sets that I did at the end, at the start, as part of my seated leg curl. So I used to do a lying leg curl at the end with 2 sets, a seated leg curl at the start with 2 sets, so that there's less warm-up sets. We just literally he's literally put all of the volume at the start for the seated leg curl. And then obviously at the end with my glute focused press, etc. That's all there since we took out things like hack squats, Smith machine squats, etc. I don't need bigger quads. Not that they can't get bigger, because I can. They do have the ability to get bigger, and I can get bigger for my body, if that makes sense. But my glutes needed and still need to come up more so than my quads. That's why the volume is majoritively stuck to my glutes and hamstrings for most things, which is why glutes has been put onto back day, etc., so that I could bring my glutes up a little bit. I mean, you can all be the decision makers as to whether I've done that when I finally actually share my package. I think Kuba's shown my package on his YouTube more than what I've actually shown of mine, and that's not because I'm proud, but I want to show the final look and just be proud, regardless of what happens at the Olympia. Like, I won 2 pro shows this year. I'm super proud of that. I am going to bring my best. How that fares is how that fares. I have no control over that. So I'm just enjoying it, feeling no pressure, enjoying the process, and just getting it done. My post-workout meal is obviously Trained by JP Nutrition. This is clothing, Meg 10 for discount off. I've got 110 grams of cream of rice, 150 grams of raspberries, 100, not 100, 40 grams of whey isolate. Again, the cream of rice and the isolate are both from Trained by JP. It's the vanilla cream of rice and it's the cinnamon swirl protein performance isolate for my whey. I make it into a paste, or as Wesley Vissers likes to call it, what do they call it, the whey drip, the champion's drip or something like that. I basically stole it from Kuba because he's been doing it for years. So I'm going to enjoy that, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you again for another video.